Level 1. The student. You chose engineering because you liked knowing the answer. Not approximately. Exactly. The way a bridge transfers load through geometry. The way a function takes an input and returns an output. And the relationship between those two things is deterministic in a way that most of the world is not. You chose a field where the correct answer exists and can be proven. At 18, this felt like solid ground in a way that everything else did not. Nobody warned you about the gap between the proof and the thing. Differential equations, linear algebra, thermodynamics. You studied these with the focused belief that they were the work, and in a sense, they were. Not because you would use all of them, but because the specific rewiring that happens when you spend 4 years solving problems where close enough is not a category makes you someone different from the person who enrolled. You exit more precise, more patient with ambiguity you can quantify, less patient with ambiguity you cannot. Senior year, you built something real, not a simulation, a thing with actual constraints, actual materials, actual consequences. When the design met reality, and reality pushed back, it didn't work the first time. The third time it worked partially. The sixth time it worked. And the specific internal shift of a thing you designed doing the thing you designed it to do, the motor spinning, the program running, the structure holding, became the answer to the question of why you were doing this. Not the starting salary, which you'd looked up. The answer.
Level 2. The junior engineer. Nobody told you the codebase would look like this. School gave you problems engineered for clarity, defined inputs, one correct answer. The system you inherited on day 3 of your first job had been built by 11 people over 7 years, 4 of whom no longer worked at the company, 2 of whom had written the critical sections before a deadline in 2018 without documenting them, because there hadn't been time. There is always something that hadn't been time. This is your first lesson in how software is actually made, and it is delivered without ceremony. You were making $83,000 a year. This is more money than anyone in your immediate family has made at 22, and it also does not feel like enough for the specific anxiety of being new somewhere, that the consequences of being wrong are visible, attributable, and occasionally urgent. You caused a production incident in month 4, a change you made, reviewed, approved, deployed on a Thursday afternoon, affected a downstream dependency that nobody had documented. At 11:15 that night, your phone buzzed, and you spent the next 3.5 hours on a call with your team, undoing it. Your manager was calm. Your tech lead was calm. You were the only person on the call feeling what it feels like when you have broken something real, and other people are staying calm around you. Your tech lead stayed until it was fixed. She did not have to. She had her own work. You remembered this. You have not forgotten it.
Level 3. The engineer. You got good at it. Not perfect. You understand now that perfect is not a state engineering produces. Only better, and less bad, and fits the requirements within tolerance. But genuinely good. You can look at a problem, and within a few minutes have a working model of its shape, its failure modes, the approaches that will hold under load, versus the ones that will be elegant in theory and a maintenance disaster at 2 in the morning. You are making $119,000 a year. You ship things that real people use. The first time you saw someone using something you built, the feature, the service, the piece of infrastructure they were interacting with without thinking about how it worked, which is what it looks like when something is built correctly, you felt something. You have since been unable to describe it adequately to anyone who hasn't felt it. The on-call rotation arrived. Your pager goes off at 2 in the morning sometimes. Not often, because you have learned to ask what happens when this fails, before you ship rather than after, because the answer to that question at 2 in the afternoon during a design review is significantly better than the answer at 2 in the morning with a live incident. But sometimes it goes off anyway. You get up, you fix it, you write the postmortem, which is not about blame. You understand this in the body now, rather than just in theory, which is how most important engineering lessons arrive. You are building something here, not just the system, the person who knows how to build the system. Level 4. The senior engineer. People come to you now with problems that are genuinely hard, not for approval, for judgment. There is a difference. Approval is easy to give and worth little. Judgment is what someone needs when the problem has the specific shape of the problems that look straightforward until they fail. And failing is expensive. You can see that shape now, not because you are smarter than the people who can't see it, but because you have been wrong in the specific ways this kind of problem produces enough times to have a catalog. You are making $162,000 a year, and approximately 35% of your time is in meetings that could have been emails.
Another 20% is reviewing other people's work. This used to feel like interruption. Now it feels like the job. The review is the job. Catching the assumption in the design document. That holds under normal load and fails at peak. The kind of thing you missed in 2021, and it costs 3 days and a formal apology to a major client. That is the job. You caught it last month in a conference room in 20 minutes. That is 17 hours of incident response. You traded for 20 minutes of attention. Experience is not knowledge. Experience is indexed failure. The index grows every year. You consulted constantly. The pager still goes off at 2 a.m. sometimes. It always will.
Level 5. The staff engineer. The systems you design are used by people who will never know your name. This is not a complaint. It is one of the specific dignities of engineering at scale. The work becomes infrastructure, which means it becomes invisible, which means it is doing its job. The bridge nobody thinks about is the bridge that is working. You are making $235,000 a year, and you have not written significant production code in several months. Because the most valuable thing you can do is not write the code. It is make the decision that shapes how the next 15 engineers write the next 100,000 lines. One right architecture decision can save a year of wrong implementation. You know this with the settled certainty of someone who has sat in the room after the wrong implementation and done the estimation. Technical debt is your language now, not fixing it. You do not have time for that, and it is not the best use of what you can do. Naming it precisely, quantifying the cost, translating it from the accurate but opaque language that engineers use for each other into the language that makes it legible to the people who decide whether and when to pay it down. You learned to translate. It took longer than learning the technical skills, and it is worth more. The fork appeared this year. Management track or individual contributor track. Both are real careers. Both require you to stop being the engineer you currently are and become a different kind of engineer. You have been thinking about it carefully, and you have made the choice. Level 6. The engineering manager. The thing nobody tells you is that you stop being an engineer. Not immediately, not on the org chart. Your title still has engineer in it, but the work shifts from systems to people, from the specific satisfaction of the function that runs correctly to the specific different satisfaction of the person who was blocked and is no longer blocked. These are not the same satisfaction. They are not a lesser one. They are different in a way that takes about 18 months to stop mourning and start genuinely valuing. You are making $270,000 a year, and your calendar looks like a logistics problem where the constraints are contradictory. 14 one-on-ones a week, roadmap planning, hiring loops, performance conversations, not the 15-minute checkbox of your IC years, but the sustained, ongoing documentation of a person's growth. The honest conversation about what is holding them back, and the harder conversation that you have learned to have earlier than you used to have it. You lost a good engineer last year, good at the technical work, generating friction in the team in a specific way that was becoming a structural problem. And you waited too long to address it directly because you had convinced yourself it would resolve. It did not. The conversation you had in month 8 should have happened in month 3. You know the shape of that mistake now. You will not make it again in exactly that way. You will make it in a different way. Learn from that one too, and keep adjusting. You have 8 engineers on your team. 3 of them are going to be better than you were at their level. This is the correct outcome. This is how you measure whether you are doing the job right. Level 7. The legacy. There is a system running right now that you designed 17 years ago, not maintained by you. You left that company in 2015. They were acquired in 2019. The new parent rebuilt the front end entirely and kept the core infrastructure because nobody wanted to touch it, which is a form of compliment that only engineers fully appreciate. But the architecture you spec'd over 2 weeks in 2008, the trade-offs you argued for in a conference room with 4 people who have since moved to 3 different industries, is still processing, still running, still doing the thing. Your title is whatever it is now, VP of Engineering, Principal Architect, CTO. The title matters less than it looked like it would at 22 when you were modeling the senior versions of this career from a distance. What matters is what happens on Tuesday when you sit with the engineer who reminds you of yourself at level 2, not because they are like you, but because they have the specific look of someone who caused their first production incident last week and is sitting with the weight of it at a one-on-one and not quite saying so. You recognize it because you had it. You know what it needs. You have made a large number of decisions in this career. Some of them are running in production. Some failed and left something useful in the failure. Some were made at 2 a.m. under constraint and turned out to be right. Some were made carefully over weeks in a conference room and turned out to be wrong. You cannot always tell which is which at the time. You have learned to make the best call with available information and design for the possibility of being wrong because the system that can absorb a mistake and recover is more valuable than the architecture that assumed no mistake would come. Engineers build things that outlast the moment of building them. Roads, bridges, systems. The quiet infrastructure that makes the visible infrastructure possible. Most of it will never carry your name. The thing does not need your name on it to be yours. The system you designed in 2008 is still running. That is enough.